Hey, what's going on, guys? YouTube. Um, so my second video, just wanted to talk about who I think is the most overrated guitarist of all time, and I think I'm gonna it's like I'm gonna commit sacrilege by saying this because everybody's supposed to agree he's the most wonderful guitarist of all time. And I'm not saying that he wasn't a good guitarist. He was. He was an excellent guitarist. Influential, yes. Highly influential. Um, Transformational, yeah. But he is revered at the cost of acknowledging and appreciating and listening and respecting to all the other guitarists whose shoulders he stood on to become who he was. In fact, he ripped off a lot of people. That guitarist is Jimi Hendrix. I've always liked his playing, his music. Um, when I was a teenager, I was a huge fan of him. Still a fan, but I just don't understand the monotheistic God status in guitar, electric guitar that he's obtained. I don't understand that at all. When, especially around the same time, there actually were other guitarists that were just as good, just as interesting to listen to. So, first of all, I mean, his style was very limited. It was blues based rock. That's it. And guitar is one of the most versatile instruments on the face of the earth. It was a classical and ancient instrument going back millennium in multiple continents, mostly Europe and Asia, Middle East, and India, because the sitar is actually a guitar. But Asia and Europe. So um, there's a long history of guitar playing that goes back thousands of years. And why people have been so focused on one genre, simply because the instrument has become electrified in the last several decades, I don't understand. Searches me. It's very self-limiting and I don't know, pretty stupid. So I think it's important to realize that yeah, he was an excellent guitarist, but yeah, he had influences that led up to who he was. In fact, he essentially what he did is he synthesized, he put everything together. So there was nothing really original about him at all, but he did it very well. So going back to, of course, all the blues guitarists he loved, and then when he went to England, then he really learned about what electric guitar could do. He learned it from Townsend. He learned it from Jeff Beck in particular. Jeff Beck was one of the biggest influences on him. And, I really believe Eric Clapton also was because he wouldn't have been so competitive with the guy if he weren't important. So all those other people um, were the shoulders that he stood on as a guitarist, and I think it's important to realize that. And even while he was still alive, there were other guitarists that were coming out, like Richie Blackmore and Jimmy Page, of course. And all those guys are very well known, but they're always considered to be below Hendrix, and that's the problem I have. I don't think that's a deserved status. I think if he hadn't died 50 years ago, and um, honestly, if he hadn't been black, it probably would have been pretty different as far as how he was remembered. He would have probably been more just another guitarist, one of the main five electric guitarists. rock guitarists. And I mean, rock guitar itself has gotten so boring. It's just people say, "Oh, the blues in it is gone." Well, it was always it was already getting boring in the '60s and '70s when all people were really doing was blues. I mean, I guess back then it was new, but let's say '70s onward, that's what started punk. People got tired of, blues-based rock all the time, 24/7. It got boring, and so then we had the '80s. They kind of went backwards, back to blues based, and then people started doing all these circle jerk guitarists that did all these little licks. Eddie Van Halen, I mean, great guitarist, sadly just passed, but kind of mechanical type of playing with these guys in the '80s, kind of soulless, and '90s grunge, interesting, but not a hell of a lot of innovation because the limitations of pop and rock are actually limiting the instrument.